Welcome everybody. My name is Bartosz and I'll be your instructor for today's class, a rough session of showing you how to use Unreal Engine for animation, keyframes, and mocap in general. This is a 2-year research compiled into a 60-minute session where you will learn all about the findings of how to use Unreal Engine to get animations into the engine, out of the engine, and but generally the whole pipeline workflow of working with these kind of animations. There are pros and cons like to everything for working with animations. So depending on what you will need in your project, you can use different types of tools that you'll have at your disposal here to bring animations quickly, either from already created animations that are available on the marketplace, which is a very good source of professional mocap data that you can use in your animations, or you will learn also how to bring in your own animations that you can create custom using just video from a smartphone or 2 or more smartphones, which is a rig of cameras basically surrounding a person that you'll be able to use that motion capture data and apply it to a skeleton to Unreal. Now, I know I said a lot of words right now, and those may be like skeleton, what is he talking about? Don't worry, after this presentation, you will learn, you'll have a understanding of what it is, what is an Unreal skeleton, how to import animations into it quickly, and how to work with them in general. And you'll also see the differences between animations that are keyframed and animations that are mocap brought into the engine. All right, so I'm going to share my screen just so we have some kind of reference here for the presentation. I created this is roughly to just get an outline, and we'll get also the vibe of the class, because I won't be talking all the time. I would like this to be a kind of discussion that will be opened during the presentations. So if you feel like you need to ask a question, please refrain from it right now, compile it, write it down, and then later we'll be able to ask the questions in a Q&A session that will be totally open, and you'll be able to share your thoughts. So the introduction to the training outline in general is introduction to Unreal Engine 5. I'll talk about the interface changes, what are the environmental lighting improvements, what is the Quixel bridge, all the modeling tools that are accessible, what are the differences between nanite virtual geometry, what is lumen. These are all very new words that are kind of trendy right now, and I'll talk briefly about them. Keyframes, how to bring animation into the engine. We'll talk about also later about markerless mocap move AI, and I'll briefly talk about world building workflows, which I'll share right now before I jump into the whole course. Because a few words about me: I am a let me just quickly share my screen here. So just so you know, this is me working at my studio during the World Building Fellowship that was hosted by Epic Games. And this was one of the biggest educational experiences and one of the most fun experiences I've had in my life, because there were 100 people, people joined from students all around the world, and they were basically all learning Unreal to create worlds. This was all based around the idea of how to create a world for a world without focusing around what are the specifics of character design, which is actually the opposite of this course, where we will be focusing on character animation and design. But this was the other side of the picture. What is the art of creating an interesting environment? And what it really takes, how long does it take to create these kind of environments? Well, this is my dog, Alcantara, who joins me along these sessions. They take very long, these fellowships. And as you can see, this is probably most people's fellowship where there's food all around the desk, because there's so much work that goes into the fellowship to finish it and also compile the projects and do it on time, that there's little time to squeeze for your life. So that's one of the experiences that's a very, very hard thing to do, but very rewarding at the end, because the projects that come out of it that I'd like to share, world building, Epic, they have shared a very cool reel, world building. So in this fellowship, many students create these kind of amazing environments using world building tools that we'll briefly discuss during this course and show some techniques, but we won't go much in depth because the art of world building is a very complex issue where you have to think about a lot about architecture design, how things are placed around the world, how this can be used later for virtual production use cases, which is a big market for these things right now. A good environment can sell probably even better or as good as a well-designed character. I just wanted to quickly briefly show the world building that was created by the Epic students. So fellows that did not have any, or some people had a lot of Unreal experience, but many of these shots here that you'll be able to see were created by people who first turned on the engine, and after 4 weeks of intense sessions learning from instructors, were able to create these amazing worlds, right? I'm very proud of this. I'm sharing this as an introduction to this because this shows how Unreal Engine can be used by people who do not actually use game engines every day, but they know how to understand, how to grasp, I would say, something as a location, as a world. So many of your kind of your knowledge from your earlier days, like architecture, composition, lighting, all the things that are not even related to game engines go into this stuff. And the better the background of somebody's knowledge is on how to create these kind of worlds, or how they are built, then the tool that is Unreal Engine just helps them do it much better. That's the kind of essence of it. You have to think of it as a great tool and not something that will just magically create everything for you. The marketplace. In the marketplace, you can find amazing assets that are essentially free, and that you can quickly bring into your worlds and just make and just save a lot of time if a particular style or a world is something that you would like to bring into your project. And I encourage you to look into this. The second thing here, aside from the marketplace, is what actually Epic offers in the samples tab. In the samples tab, you can learn all about their amazing projects, from like the machine learning deformer, which is a new way to animate characters, which is a rather complex setup, but once you get into it, it can give you amazing results for animation. But this is a more advanced class. The hillside sample, which was scanned from photogrammetry, an actual building in Montreal, brought into Unreal Engine. You can have a look at this. But the most interesting part for a beginner going into Unreal Engine and learning about what are the possibilities, what are the limitations, how I should work around this and get the best results, is the content examples. This has been updated to 5.2, and I encourage everybody to just create a project, call it content examples 5.2, and use it to the most extent as possible. Make sure you select the version 5.2, so you install the latest version. And once that is set up, you can select a folder which you can bring in the project where you'd like. I usually keep these projects in Unreal Project / and then it will go into, I'm just going to install it so I can show you as an example of how to install a pack, right? I'm creating a new project essentially from the content examples. And then from the content examples, I can bring stuff from that into my own projects, which will go into the next, in the next step. I'll jump into Unreal now to show you some examples, right? Because I'm a big fan of not showing presentations, but just actually showing rather than talking about it. This will be later covered. I'll ask a few questions to the author of these animations. He helped a lot to create this. He's been an amazing student working on this, Jakub. So he'll be sharing some information about this. But right now, this is the first step. The second step here is my second animation project here. This is a more advanced setup here of different kind of states of animation. And I won't go more into depth. I just want to show you the different types of ways of doing animations, and then open it to the class to ask some questions if you'd like. This is a very simple example of using the mannequin, which we'll cover in depth in the class, because it's the best way. I'm sorry, this is called the Manny, which is the male version of the robot to bring in animations. If you're using a female, if you have female animations, then you'll use the Quinn, which is the name of the mannequin for the female example. And these mannequins are designed by Epic Games, and they're the best way to move animations and just see animations perform before you bring them into your own character, metahuman, or whatever your character will be. In this simple example, you can see this is the third person example that you can add to your project without any issues, and I'll show you how to do that. And then you'll be able to create this simple animation where you're able to attach an object brought in from a external library that you found, let's say on Sketchfab, and attach it to the character, so he's able to run with the object and also apply the animations. And everything works procedurally here in the engine. Now, this is a real-time method of doing this, a more advanced way that goes into blueprints, and just in general, you have to understand how skeletons work in Unreal. So to kickstart this, I'll show a more simple example. In this example, I'll just hit play, so you'll be able to see these animations perform. This is a selection of animations that we captured in Move AI and brought them into the skeletal mesh, the SKM Mani that I showed you, and it's just playing back the whole animation. These animations are not procedural in the sense that were in the last example. They are not run as in Unreal through a so-called state machine, but they are rather just played back in sequencer, which is the best, easiest way to jump in and get great results. From these animations, we have different examples where there's, Jakub will show more in his short session. I'll be able to show, he's been organizing these animations for an actual production. So these are not example animations that we just pulled off the marketplace that I'm showing you, but these are actual production quality things that go into music videos later, and are able to be shown in a really amazing way. And this demonstration kind of ends where you're having these animations, you're able to retarget these animations, which or also use the same bone structure to quickly add animations to your character, and then bring it all into a scene as is here, set up here in this simple scene that was quickly pulled from the marketplace, and then the character was added into here. And I hit play, and then I get some kind of sense of what my scene is, what are the possibilities right now, and in general how I achieve this. So I'll go through the points of how to get this up and running. This took about without the processing from Move AI and the whole uploading, getting everything ready for Move AI. Once I get the animation from the FBX file that comes from Move AI, which I'll get into a little bit later, you can import these animations really quickly and just start tweaking them to your liking, blending them, and also adding them upon layers. So this is a very, I would say, unique way, but also gives you a very controllable way to add these kind of animations.
Yes, yes.
Go for it.
Working with iClone for to fix these animations.
Mm-hmm.
We got some issues with retargeting,
Mm-hmm.
and at the end of the day, at the end of this process, we figure out that the documentations in Unreal Engine and iClone are a bit wrong with
With the,
the
yes, with the documentation doesn't match up with what's in the updated version.
yes.
That's what sometimes happens, right?
So
Or
they suggest to use Meta Human Dummy in iClone,
right?
but as you can see, we got scam money here
Yeah.
because of issues with bones and not they are not compatible with I think the structure of metahuman bones of all this spines etc.
Mm-hmm.
I suggest to use SKM money and it's as you can see it's quite nice. This performance is real and looks juicy to
Mm-hmm.
me. But when we were trying to fix animations using the documentation of iClone and Unreal Engine, we got a lot of issues. So that's the solution to use SKM money for any retargeting you want to do with Mixamo and all of Glycon, I think, and other stuff like Rococo, like help me, Bart,
Yeah,
Move.
yeah. Technically, anything that goes into Unreal and out and is a kind of skeletal animation, a humanoid, right?
Yeah,
The mannequin is a great. It's just designed for animators because you can see that how each of the bones, like when working on a metahuman, you may sometimes miss stuff that are happening, while on the mannequin you just see it before it goes into the final animation, and you can fix these errors before they happened at the wrong time, which is kind of essential. I'm
yeah.
going to quickly share while you have a look here where at the scene. I'm going to share a quick video of the source video of these captures.
Yeah.
So you'll be able to see how the hardships of it, because creating there are pros and cons, right, for markerless motion capture. The pros are you get the whole thing in one go. The cons are that you need some space and some setup. And let me just go here into a clip here that I have. Um, there we go. And
For
I'll
the
just
reminder, you're still on my parsec.
yes,
On,
yes, yes,
on
yes. Let me just show the screen here, and I can drop this here. So this is a video of how the Move AI system essentially works from the exact animation that you just saw in Unreal that we brought in. So it already comes retargeted to a mannequin, which is super useful and just
yeah,
along across the whole pipeline gives us two things. One, that we have it in mannequin and can be easily retargeted to other things in Unreal, like MetaHuman or other characters, and we get the vast library of animations that are uh, already there in Unreal and can be blended onto this animation, which is amazing because then we get the mocap plus the control of keyframing animation. And as you can see, this mocap brought in from 3 cameras, which isn't a lot. Usually it's recommended to have 4 to even 6 sometimes if you're going for high fidelity. But even 3 or 2 cameras with some cleanup are able to get great results, right? And I think without much cleanup, you can see already the file here works well. And also the thing about what we noticed when we were doing this right to a metahuman rig, metahumans are more prone to kind of glitches and errors working with their kind of their head. So when it's brought into a mannequin rig, we can have this more retargeted correctly. While I'm here, I'm going to quickly show. I won't show the uploading on and the whole retargeting, the whole processing of the footage, because that just takes time from our session. I'll show how to quickly bring in an animation like this, as you just saw in our example where Jakub was showing his workflow, where it's actually really helpful to have all the animations running at the same time on one scene, because Unreal is able to do that without much issues. So the first step, once you get the motion capture data back from Unreal, back from Move AI, I'm going to create just a new folder here, call it course. And from here, I'm able to download the UE5 Mani, which is the main character, the main rig for Unreal Engine, and it matches us up with the Mani. All right, and now I twirly this out, and I'm able to download the retargeted FBX. Right now, FBX, I know that I mentioned USDZ, GLTF as formats of working with Unreal. FBX is still the primary method of getting data in and out of applications, just because it's still an industry standard. It's annoying, but it's actually, when it works and is set up correctly, is very useful. But I have had issues with FBX, and FBX is just not a pleasant format to work with. But once you get the hang of it, it's pretty actually easy to grasp. And I'm going to do a quick demo right now. Let me jump into Unreal, back into my project, right? So I have this very crude environment here, this modeling thing here that I set up, and I would like to have my mannequin right here. So I'll just start from the beginning and bring in the character into the content. So the best way to do it is usually to create a new folder. It's a very good convention, and just call it SKM Mani. I'll call it import, just so I know that this is from the course. Now, selecting the folder, I can right click here and go import, and then just find the folder that I'm importing from, which is, one second. Here we go. Oh yes, because I downloaded this guy here. Here we go. From the course. Oh, come on. I think I'll just get here by clicking. All right. So first, in order to import an animation into Unreal, it's advised to do it this way, which is first import the rig and then import the animation into the rig, rather than bringing the whole thing in one go. I know a lot of people work that way, but it's actually a lot faster, and Unreal kind of prefers this way, in the sense that you do not, if you bring in more characters with the same skeleton, they may be duplicated. This way, you keep it organized, and the skeletons won't duplicate. So first, when we bring in a mesh, we would like to bring it with the skeleton. I know I'm saying skeleton a lot, and I'll actually skeleton. I've asked to what is the difference of a skeleton, right? What is an actual skeleton? So how to simplify it, right? So imagine you have two action figures, right? And they're built the exact same way, with the same kind of parts and joints. And you can transfer these two from one object to that skeleton, as long as the skeleton is the same. So if you import a UI5 Mani, it automatically comes with a skeleton, so there's no need to select the skeleton. So we'll just go import all. This will go through just the import. Now, the nice thing about working with mannequins is that they import really fast and export really fast because they've been designed this way to be very lightweight and efficient, so they can go into other DCC apps for some kind of tweaks and animation and then come back into Unreal. Once you import it, it's a good idea to save everything. So we'll click the save button. And it also asks me to save the map, which is a good idea. So I'll just call it new course map. All right. So we have our brought in our skeleton. We can have a look here. And I'm going to just drag and drop him. I hit Control Space to bring in this tab here with the content drawer, which is kind of useful. So right now we have this guy here. Now, when you drag in an object, you can see here the location is always kind of arbitrary. A good way to reset the location is to hit this little button and now hit F. Now we know that this character is exactly in the center of the scene, which is a good idea also to have the floor here. So I'll quickly move the floor over here. Once I have the floor here, let's say I move the character up here. Oh, and how do I get him back here? Well, he's jumping around or doing weird things, right? A very useful shortcut to use in Unreal is the end button. It's located right here in the end, right, on PC, and that will always snap any object right to the floor. It's actually really useful. So you'll always make sure you're not like 1 pixel off here, because so using the home button is actually very useful. End. So just reiterate, whenever you're up, hit end, things drop back onto Unreal and are in place in 0. So we have our location reset of our character, just to make sure. You can always hit this, so this will always reset it. And now if we want to import the animation that we just got from Move AI into our character. And in the next step, I'll show you how to import animations from an anim pack. Oh, actually, before we go into the Move AI, which we already have, we can already import here an animation pack. In order to import an animation pack, it's actually very simple. It's best found to go to the Unreal Marketplace. Go to the Marketplace. And let's download the quick pack here, animation. If you type in animation, and sort from low to high. Let me just here quickly, where was it? The animation pack. I had it here already set up here. Let me just type in animation. Usually to find stuff on the marketplace, it's a bit tricky sometimes. Let me just, oh, here we go. It's called Animation Starter Pack. So this is a free asset that you can add to the project. So you click add on the project. I've already, I think, added this. I'll just make sure so I don't add it a second time. All right, I think I don't have these animations here. So let's try and add these animations into our project. So I click on add to project, show all projects, if your project doesn't show up here. And this is the, let me just double make sure here that I'm in the correct build. A good way to show if you're in the correct build is to show an explorer and have a look which folder are you working in, and that makes sure you never import into the wrong project. It's actually a helpful tip. I usually use it all the time. So I'm in the MetaHumans 5.1 5.2 project. That's what's the name of it. MetaHumans 5.1, but we're working in 5.2, so no worries with that. If an asset is not compatible, that's fine. You can also always select an earlier version of the asset and still click add to project, and Unreal Engine takes care of the conversion, which is very useful sometimes when asset. So don't worry about it when sometimes the version won't match, because Unreal should be able to handle that. All right. So once we have the content pack here, it shows up in an anim starter pack here, and we have all our animations here. Now we have a lot of animations here. Now adding these animations to this character could be a little bit time consuming, going through the retargeting system, right? Because you would have to click on each animation and retarget it, and then so on and so forth. So a quick way to work with this one, to bring all these animations that we just brought in from the marketplace into our character, right, is to go into the skeletal mesh and add a compatible skeleton. So we click on our object, next we click on our Manny, double click on him, a window should pop up here. And from here, all our interest goes into this skeleton. So we click on the little skeleton button, make sure you're here in this option, and then go to
Window.
yes, Windows and Asset Details. It sometimes has to click. Okay, it should show up. Let me try again. Oh, is it showing up here? Oh, sorry, it's showing up on my second screen. That's fine. So here we go. I hit the plus, and now I find my SKM Manny skeleton here that was just imported, right? But we do not want that as a compatible skeleton. We want to have the compatible skeleton from the mannequin, which the mannequin is here in the animations tab. Let me just look for the mannequin UE4 skeleton. So this guy, right? This is the guy that should be, it's from the anim starter pack. That's the skeleton that's attached to all these animations. So we go into our character, we add that as a compatible skeleton, the UE4 skeleton, which is an earlier version, right? We'll just hit save. And now let's have a look. Are we able to now have a look? And these animations should be able to pop up here in the use animation asset and into play. And you can see all these animations here are now available for us. So let's do some kind of idle animation. Let's do idle, or let's do a walk cycle. Let's see if we can have a walk. Well, okay, so he's holding some kind of, this is just a, yeah. So as you can see, the system works, but not quite, right? There is some kind of error, right, regarding the retarget. Now that's the thing with automatic bone setups. They sometimes may not work as they intended. There is a fix for this, which is in a blueprint that I'll share along with the assets of this course. I just won't go into the depth of how to set it up, because it will take a little bit of time. But you're able to fix this so the UE4, all the UE4 animations should retarget correctly into this character. I'm actually going to have a quick look here. We are on time at 1:33. Just as a quick breather, if anybody would like a break now, is a good time to take a break, 5-minute break, and we'll jump into fixing these issues and importing motion capture and doing this in sequencer so we can have some kind of start and end. So yeah, take a short breather, ask any questions. I'll be setting up this scene quickly here, so I'll stop my screen share for a moment, and we'll try to fix these issues as we talk around, and or just feel free to ask any questions as you wish.
When I was watching the fingers video that you showed, one with the fingers and one without, and I noticed that the one that was sort of without was better quality. You could see the movement of the anatomy parts. I think that was something that I noticed.
That's correct. The mocap without the finger tracking is less glitchy. The data is more clean. So a good way that we're kind of approaching this is to export both. We get the
Right.
finger information and also not the finger information, just the hands in a stiff position. And once in Unreal Engine, we have both of these animations, we can use an additive track and use that as a way to just add the little finger animations that come from the mocap, but not overlay everything over the animation. So we kind of get like a blend, and that way the animation, Jakub is working on that to get that nice blend. So he has the organic animation, the raw animation there, but also the stable animation that comes back from.
There's some sort of like experience and intuition where to use it and what not to use it. That's
Yes, there is some kind there is a sense of yeah, when to use what kind of system or what kind of retargeting system. What looks best? I think a lot of artists like to work in real time, or at least are getting the most when working out of real time because they see what they're working on, right? It's represented. So it helps a lot. That's why I recommended when Jakub was working on his animation for a few days, he was watching it and trying to get the best out of it. But we kind of thought about it. Well, what if we put everything in Unreal and just have all the animations so we can have a look at them, and that kind of got us going where we're at now, so we can actually see the minor details and then start blending it. And essentially, instead of getting into a external application, we're able to do most of like 99% of the work in Unreal, mostly.
But that was after we figured out that
Yeah.
that we use SKM money. Yeah.
Yeah, that's correct.
So
Before
it took a while for us.
it took a while to figure that out. That's true. Yes. Mm, yeah,
So
it's been
getting back to these animations and blending it with themselves.
yeah.
You may hop on my screen right now.
Mm-hmm.
So we got a sequencer with already prepared situation
Right.
that we are talking about, and we got the main animation and additive animation.
Mm-hmm.
I have I did already one blend, and it's my main animation right now. So I got fingers and no fingers in one animation, but I weighted it up. So 30% of one animation and 70% of second animation, and it's my main animation right now, and I'm blending it again
Mm-hmm.
as an additive animation with the fingers animation, but I did some tweaks here. In properties, you can open the animation that you want to tweak. As simple as you just pause and pick the bone you want to fix,
Mm-hmm.
and right key frame, and just click on the bone. You may turn the head up, right, down, all that stuff. Hands also, legs also, etc.
Mm-hmm.
And simple press S, that the keyframe will affect the main animation depending on what weight you will have
Are you
here.
are you able to show it side by side now
Yes,
as an
yes.
example? Because this is actually very interesting
Okay, okay.
on and one of the best ways to actually work in Unreal to correct animations without needing to bake them and have a lot of control.
Yeah. So first of all, we got to find the place we want to fix. For example, it's 752 frame. So at the second animation, we got to pick also the same keyframe here, or maybe something about the main value we want to tweak. And we may do some stuff here For example, we want to change some position of the arm, lower arm here, and just press S. But it may take a while because we got a long animation here. So you can see at the bottom of my screen at the right side that it's preparing the animation right now. So if we got about 12K frames, it will take a minute.
Yeah.
But you may see an effects after the short break, for example. Yeah.
Yeah, because you're applying now the whole keyframe as a whole.
Yes.
But is this but this is on an additive track, like you mentioned, so it's affecting. So two animations are kind of working together to create the final animation of the character. So that way you get a lot of control. You can still edit these motion capture elements. I'll get into.
You can see.
Yeah.
Sorry for interrupting.
Sure.
As you can see, we got the weight properties here on the left side of the screen, and when we got a 0 value here, nothing happens, and we got 1. So we got already tweak in between, and we may just by typing the weight on main and additive animation get the perfect look what we're looking for. Yeah. So
awesome.
Simple as that.
Thank you for sharing, Jakub. That's very insightful. This is more advanced, maybe from where we're at, but it actually shows what the pipeline is for getting this right, because this has been already retargeted to from the Manny, as we mentioned before, to the MetaHuman, and now working on his final character, he can make all the tweaks that are essential, because the Manny is a robot. He's a bit bigger than a human, has a bit different proportions. So when working directly from an animation that comes from him, there are always some little minor tweaks. But the good part is that there's not that many, because it's already like Unreal Engine really handles well whatever's coming from a mannequin. That's the way the engine is designed to work with this. All right. So we're approaching our kind of halftime, or going through the presentation as we see. If there's any questions, please ask, or suggestions, or even feedback. Please go ahead. This is a great time to do this. And I'll just go quickly here through just the details of the next part of the presentation.
Can you, Bartosz, because you mentioned Fortnite, can you explain it more about Fortnite for me, please? What is it, and why it's what are the advantages, disadvantages of Fortnite?
Sure. Thanks for mentioning. So Fortnite is Unreal Engine's basically biggest hit game, and they've come to the conclusion to essentially bring Unreal Engine for Fortnite into Unreal Engine, or the other way around, which is what it means for us as people working in Unreal Engine, is that we get Unreal Engine, but all the cool things that Epic made for Fortnite accessible for us in the engine, and also we can add our own stuff into it. So what this means is, from the practical point of view, is that we can create a multiplayer game more faster, effectively than ever, because creating it from scratch in Unreal Engine, even in Unreal Engine, would take a lot of development and just high programming skills that go into all this, while Unreal Engine for Fortnite kind of takes care of all the heavy lifting so people can connect, can join from an Xbox, can join from a PlayStation, can join from virtually any Android, iPhone device via streaming, and they're able to experience whatever we create in Unreal Engine in a multiplayer kind of session where they jump into one level and they're able to experience what we have there using a code level. Now, for as game developers, this is great because it means that we can create something and let our friends play test it, have a look at it, see, give our feedback, or even
You
add.
can invite other players, other users to join the session and work with you.
Correct.
That's correct.
Correct. Yes, you can invite others.
So let's say the game that we are thinking about developing with this ultrasound images, where there's a probe coming and there's image coming on the screen, and you cross the proper answer. So in this environment, the Fortnite environment, we can invite, like, let's say 6 or 7 doctors. They can join us and they can play the game with us. That's correct. That's how I understand.
Well, yes, essentially, yes. Once we're able to bring in all the assets that we would like to have people to have on the level, we can just essentially run the game, invite our friends to test it, to have a look at it, and then they will all join at the same time and be able to play it. It's pretty wild that you can do this right now so quickly. So it just makes life. So all these animations here that I've like shown, this is all Unreal Engine for Fortnite. Yeah, so people, I know they're like, the thing about Fortnite, to answer your question, right, is that it's still bound by the rules of Fortnite. So if you haven't played Fortnite, it's hard to explain it. But if you have, you kind of will know what I'm talking about. So when you play the game, you essentially have a battle royale where the last player standing kind of wins. That's their essential game mode, right? That Epic invented and made the game popular. While the cool stuff comes when, oh, this is a great shot. This is where Unreal Engine has been brought into the game, and this looks nothing like Fortnite, right? it just has the character that can also be replaced later in to an extent, and from there we can create an amazing experience for, let's say, like you said, doctor's anatomical or learning kind of way, where there's like dynamic elements, gameplay elements, a score system, while at the same time having the needed visuals to let's say show something anatomically correct, or something that could not be shown in Fortnite because Fortnite is very stylized. But what we can see here is like next level, because they're bringing in the super nice quality of photo scans, of 3D meshes that are just millions of polygons, and working all together in Unreal Engine for Fortnite. So it's like Unreal Engine. It's just made more accessible to create content that can be shown to others in the engine, right? Rather than dealing with the technicalities of publishing everything and creating it as an app that people can download. That's kind of sorted. So that's the long answer. I hope that answers your question.
Thank you. We still have time for questions.
I think we can take one more if there's any more. If there's not, I'll continue into the session, and later we can also ask some questions. All right, let me just close this. So I'll show a quick demo now of getting the anime as I finished the last session. I'm just quickly having a look here to find the fix here, because this fix has been shared on a blueprint that has been shared, and I'll add it to the curriculum of, the assets of the course, so you'll be able to exactly replace this. But let me just quickly go into the blue person character. I'll share my screen here, so you'll be able to see my lurking around the project. So this is what a third person character kind of looks like, how the blueprint is set up. So this is the project where uh, I've already imported the animations from the animation pack, fixed that corrective issue that we saw before happen. It's already fixed here. I'll share, like I said, the details. And I've added here 2 custom animations from that pack, which is like a higher kind of jump, and also the crouch functionality. So I'm able to crouch with this character and go under objects. You can see here that there's a true and false system here triggering, which had to be added in the blueprint. But this way I have some interactivity and I can build around a level that works and bring in my custom animations. So this is just an example of building upon the animation starter pack. And let me just have a look here at where was that fix here. I'll share it later. I won't go into this right now. Generally, it should work once you bring it into this project. The retargeting should work without any issues here. I've added all these animations here from the same pack that you saw here, working in the Mani, and just drag them on the screen so I can see them, right? But they retarget correctly, and you can use old Mannequin 4 animations in the new Mani 5 in this system. And I like that I can mix these animations with the mocap. So I'll jump into the mocap part of the presentation that I kind of went over, but I wanted to show you how to do it for free with already assets existing in the marketplace. All right, so we'll just undo that change, and now we have our Mani, and we should be able to import our animation straight into the Mani using the FBX that will be included in the section of the learning materials of this course. So you'll be able to replicate this and have a look and play around and play and blend with these animations. I'd be interested to see what you're able to come up with if you try this. It's really cool to just see these things work. So let's bring in that animation. To bring in that animation, I'll just create in my folder here in the SK Mani import. I'll create a new folder. All right, I just need some more space here. And new folder, call it animations. And let's just go right click and import. And from here we select the scene that we've downloaded, the retargeted scene. And here's the tricky part that sometimes people miss and get wrong. So once you select that, you can select the skeleton. You have to select the skeleton and select the correct skeleton that we would like to import. So in our case, it's the SKM Mani skeleton from the SKM Mani import, right? It's when you hover over a skeleton in Unreal, it shows you on the right hand side, you can see path here. That's a good way to make sure you're importing into the correct skeleton. So as we see here, we can leave everything as is without changing anything and just hit import all. Now this process is usually really quick. It takes just a moment, and at that moment I'll also show a way to import these animations and how they look also in Blender, which is a nice way to work with these animations also, and have a look at them from the point of view with the video in the background. I'll just show I won't go into the depths of it because this is to do with Unreal Engine. While this guy is importing, you can have a look here at the Blender file. So the Blender file comes in a nice setup where you're able to see the mocap and at the same time what's going on in the scene. So say you'd like to change something in this animation here before it goes into Unreal with the setup that Move AI provides. This is very Move AI specific workflow, but if you get into that issue and you'd like to edit something, I'll just quickly show that it is possible. From the link here that comes with the file, we have to click this little button to show these control points. And from here, we have control over the axis of rotation of these various joints, right? And I can just like add a keyframe right here, and now he's going to have his whole, all the time his leg will be levitating right there. So it's very easy to add these animations, and I can also do it in real time, which is actually interesting. I can hit play, hit R, and just start rotating it as I go. So with the mouse, oh, yeah, you don't want to do that. But I'm just showing you as a showcase that this actually records into the motion in real time. Let me switch so you can see something what's going on. And I've added these motions onto the character, right? So it's very simple to add these changes using these levers here that are provided in the source file. And this is useful to do it before it goes into Unreal, right? But once it's in Unreal, you work with what's in Unreal Engine, which just because the things specific to Move AI is very useful to do it in Blender before it goes into Unreal Engine, just because it's just already set up there for that kind of corrective workflow. If you need to tweak something like, oh, the arm should be more wider, his legs should be more spread out and stuff like that. For keyframing, it's a little bit tricky, but once you get the hang of it, you'll be able to do pretty amazing things. So this animation has already imported, and now let's just play it back here. It should be available here in the skeleton right here. No, sorry, this is not it. Not the skeleton, not this animation. It should be called, 1 second, I think I have it right here. Scene 02, that's the name of anime. I can just also drag it out from here, and he should have it applied already on the scene. So that's our animation from Move AI imported into the skeleton of the of a mannequin. And I'll just quickly start jamming before we end up without time. Going from here, you can quickly add this to a metahuman using retargeting or the bone system. So I'll just jump into metahumans, and I think I have a metahuman here of my likeness. Let me just metahuman. Do I have a metahuman here quickly? You can grab any oh, there we go. We have this guy. You can grab any metahuman from the Quixel. It will work on any metahuman as long as you do it in the correct way. So once you have the metahuman brought in here, we can do it. I'll show two examples, one with the corrective bone, with the compatible skeleton, and one with retargeting, right? So first will be with the compatible skeleton. So go into the body, and now go into all. Select the skeleton, and go to the skeleton here, window, asset details. And we already see here we have some skeletons added to this guy. We already have the UE5 Manny skeleton, so that should already take those animations from, so we don't need to set up anything. So we can just attach this animation here using the animation asset and bring it into this sequence right here. This is the sequence. And there we go. So now you can see the auto retargeting system working without us doing much work, right? You can see that there's some lag in because the Unreal system needs to recalculate every time a bone is transferred and moved, and then move it to the character without actually retargeting. So it's kind of a smart system, but as you can see, it doesn't translate one-to-one. There is some lag, and there is maybe a little drift more than you'd like. But for a lot of use cases, like if this is a character in the background or doing stuff that's not in the front shot or stuff, this will do. This will do a lot of magic because you can bring all the animations from Marketplace and just retarget them. Not even retarget them, they just attach, bring them into the project and just run them. But if you'd like to have a more precise retarget, Unreal Engine has that built in. So we'll just go into the system here. We'll select our animation here. And now we'll right click on it and do retarget, duplicate and retarget animation asset blueprints. And select the retargeter. It's built into Unreal, the MetaHuman retargeter. Now, on the left side, we select what mesh we would like the source to be. And on the right side, we select what is the target. So our source is SKM Mani, which is this guy here from the SKM Mani import that we just imported during this session. And to import into a MetaHuman, it's called mtal nwr underscore body. This can differ depending on how big your MetaHuman is, what size. If you have a shorter one, it's going to be S, I think, and the big one it's a different name, but it's usually underscore body, something. So you'll be able to find it once you click on your MetaHuman and the skeleton, and then we can change the folder where we'd like this to be imported. So I'll just go here into animations and create a new folder called retargeted. And once we're ready, we'll hit retarget. Now, this system usually works 99% of the time, especially if you're working on animations that are supported. I mean, skeletons that are supported, which is mannequin and All right, so we have our animation here. He's a headless guy. MetaHumans have that kind of specific where they're broken into two sections. So all we need to do here now is just apply this animation asset, which is called scene take, like exactly here. So I'll just type in scene take move. Make sure I don't select the one that's duplicated, which is this one. Should be fine. And now let's hit play. All right, so now we can see a little bit of difference. Let's have a look. Is this the correct animation? Or are they the same? Just double check here. So this is I can disable the retargeted skeleton and then make sure this skeleton will be selected. Let's just double check here that I have yes, this is the retargeted asset. So the guy on the right is retargeted. The guy on the left is essentially done by automatic magic system, and you can see that he does lag behind a little bit behind the skeleton and the Mani and the retargeted MetaHuman, and his animations are a little bit more snappier. His arms and also his like all the joints actually translate one-to-one very precisely when you do the retarget, while the automatic system just does its job, but it's not perfect. So you can kind of weigh in where you would use these systems depending on your use case. I personally, I use the retargeting for when I have mocap data, because I want to have it one-to-one. But when I use animations from the asset store and I bring them into sequencer and I like to animate them in sequencer, then I use the animations with the compatible skeleton, and that's good enough, and it just makes it much faster to work with Unreal Engine. Okay, how's everybody doing?
I think we're fine. How about time?
Are we on time? Are we hitting the 1 hour mark? I wouldn't like to go over it, and then we'll just have kind of a open discussion and we'll be able to sign off. USD pipeline, which is the new way to invented by Pixar and adopted by most 3D programs now to export this as a USD. So what I would do is I would essentially select the whole scene, hitting A, go to File, Export, and just go into the Universal Scene Description. What I'd like to just make sure, yes, make sure you're in a recent version of Blender, at least 3.5, because that's where these things have gotten better. to be used. And let's just drop this on a folder here on Real Projects. And I'll just call it this Audi just as is, and just do selection only, and make sure I check animation, right? Now, the nice thing about USD is that it automatically baked this stuff, and hopefully, fingers crossed, if I go back into Unreal Engine, right, go to plugins, USD importer, make sure you have that selected. It won't work without this plugin. And now in virtual production, we can go to USD stage, which is this way to bring in these models. And we'll go into File, Open, here in the correct format, USD, and I'll just hit Open. And it should, after a while, well, this is a pretty hefty animation with a lot of keyframes going on. And we'll see how this goes back into Unreal. It usually gets placed into the scene first. So let's just bear with me for a second while this Unreal Engine finishes off. If there's any questions, please feel free. I'm kind of in this riffing situation now where it's pretty open, and ask along, and please feel free. All right, this popped up here, so I'll just hit this so it doesn't do anything with the cache. Sometimes this pops up. I have to make sure. So, oh, here we go. So the car popped in. The nice thing about this technique of bringing these animations in, that they usually come in the correct way. So now I just need to type in USD, and I'm able to grab my whole stage, maybe move it to the right here, have a look here, right? Oh, it even brought in my cubes, which is nice. And once I like the placement of everything, I'll just go File and Import. And it asks me, where should I import this, sir? And I'll just select my USD folder and call it car import. And just hit OK. Hit OK again. And now the car, kind of snapped into the ground, right? You may ask, why is that? Well, because it's not triggered by sequencer. The sequencer comes all together with the car also, with the USD. That's why I also like to use this format, because it breaks up and does a very nice organization structure for whatever goes into Unreal, which is level sequences, materials, static meshes, and textures. A lot better organized than what FBX brings to the table. So now I just double clicked on my level sequence, and if I hit Shift Space, Shift Space is a nice keyframe, is a nice shortcut, by the way. If you ever sometimes you're working in the viewport, you don't want to click here down, you can just hit Shift Space and that will start playing, so you can keep on moving in the viewport without have to go to the viewport. And that's our car driving off into the distance, doing this animation. That kind of concludes the pipeline of working with these assets. This car can be, of course, textured using materials from Unreal. So that kind of is the essence of bringing a kind of complex animation from Blender, from a DCC app. It doesn't matter. It could be Blender, it could be Maya, it could be iClone. Using the USD format is a nice way to communicate with a scene in Unreal Engine. While at the same time, when you want to work with characters, it is advised to use the FBX structure to import animations and import the meshes, because that works better than USD, or is supported better in Unreal Engine in that sense. Okay, I'm going to slowly slow down. Let me just close these off. Are there any questions regarding the demo, regarding the workflow? So I kind of went over FBX. I didn't go over GLTF. It's the same like USDZ. It's just invented by it's an open source format also. and it kind of does the same, but it in a different way. And you can't. It doesn't use the USD importer. It uses the GLTF importer, and also all that. There's also the Actor Palette plugin to finish off, which is super useful. I advise everybody to, especially to new in Unreal Engine, to click this plugin. It's in beta, but once we click it, yes, I'll do a quick restart, save all this stuff, and basically the plugin enables you to open up a different map in the same project and just click on objects that you would like to bring in. It's good for furniture, it's good for set decoration, it's good to open a map pack or a sample pack and bring those samples into Unreal. It can be found once enabled. You go to the Tools, Actor Palette, and then you can select the Actor Palette. And then from here, you can select a level. So let's say we want something from a different level, right? Let's go here. We'll select the overview level. So this is will load in a different level while I'm working currently on my level, and this is very useful. So because I can see everything like in a, instead of the content tab or going through images, I can quickly have a look here. And once I find something that's nice,
So it's kind of an instance, yeah.
Sorry,
it's kind of an instance.
Yes, it's kind of an instance to quickly just show a preview of the map, and it works in this way. I think it's still working on the shader, so let's click on this guy, and now click here. So it's a one-click solution. Click, click, click.
That's quite nice.
Click, and you can have many of these actor palettes open. So if you have a few levels, right? If you have one or two levels where you have a different set of assets here. I just advise people, instead of loading up the level, finding what you need, you can just, okay, what's in here? Castle. I would have to have some prepared scenes. DMX, big stage. All right, so just I want the stage, right? I didn't even have to load up this map. So I'll just, start dragging in stuff from here. It's a very useful way to bring in singular assets. If you would like to bring in whole maps, it's a different workflow. But for, running around the map and just having a look what's in here, I think you can shift select here, control, yes, with control. And then it actually brings, it's tricky. It brings in by one asset at a time. So very useful for kit bashing, I would say. Yeah, that's the Actor Palette plugin. Good to know, and very fast way to move around Unreal. Okay, that's a wrap up.
Okay. Can you finish off with like a 20-second shot of what you did with Jakub, with the project, because this is the essence of.
Sure. Let me just go into.
Don't tell me how much time it took you. 15 minutes or so.
I think I think Jakub can speak to that manner, how much time it took.
We also was working with Mateusz.
Yes, Mateusz is on the call, by the way.
Yeah.
He's lurking and listening to what's going on. He's been our art director friend here, giving us inspiration where to take the project, how to look at it, and just giving us some great
He's taking baby steps in Unreal Engine.
Yes, he's also learning Unreal Engine, so I'm happy that he's here with us, so he can. This is, by the way, his work and his kind of vision of showing a minimalistic, I would say, approach to Unreal, and it's kind of working out great with MetaHumans. I know that Jakub has done extensive work on this guy with customization and all that. So
but we haven't got the tattoos here, because we got another version of textures.
Right, because we went to the extent of actually bringing the real scans of tattoos onto the MetaHuman skins. So it's a true digital twin, and that we are able to use.
Maybe not so true because of my beer belly.
I mean, you know, he's
Looking cool.
He got a
He's-
six pack here.
he's looking good. I mean, he's okay. He'll be fine.
But that's the limitation of the basic body of metahumans.
Right, right, yeah.
So
And
you
just
got only 6 configurations or maybe 9 configurations of.
right. You've been, you know, we didn't even go into all this with the live link stuff that I wanted to show off
Yeah.
and talk about, but you can maybe just briefly show it. It's pretty cool where you've been able to take this, you know, working on this with your team. I've been helping out, you know, here and there, giving feedback or helping adjust the light or, you know, technical assistance, I would say. But the bulk of the work is made by Jakub and his team working on this to bring his album into the, you know, into the 3D Unreal.
This is
Unreal world.
about an hour of work from yesterday's evening.
Right. Yeah. So once the pipeline is set up and it works well, and you're not messing with characters going all over the place, it's actually really nice, right? You could do this in a day, right, or in a session. Get a character sitting on a chair, acting out, and having your full facial performance at the same time, which is kind of amazing if you think about it. But because it used to take, yeah, a whole team of super talented artists, and now you're able to do it like with just you, just maybe 1 or 2 people helping out.
Yeah, we got one issue here with the file media source, and I'm trying to figure out what's the best way to import a video into Unreal Engine, and we was talking about it with Bartek, and we think that the image sequence is better than MP4 or maybe MOV files, because you got a lot of more to control and in sequencer, because you got some frames to frames, but not frames to video.
Right.
And I'm unable to import the video here. So Bart, maybe you will. Oh, and we got a crash again. So
Yay! We at least had to, I didn't
yeah,
have.
that's
we had to
because of the
Which is why.
and
We had to-
MP4 files. Yes,
we had to have one crash, which is kind of the life of Unreal.
Daily routine.
It's a day. Yeah, but yeah, that's true. That's true. But once you get the hang of it, you kind of know when the crashes come. You kind of know, oh, I'm so close to a crash, and then it happens. You kind of feel it.
But the restore hub is very helpful in the situations. I think that in 5.0 and 5.1 it wasn't working as well as now in 5.2, 5.2. So we can quickly hop in with our backup loaded. Okay, so basically we got some camera movement. We got 2 cameras here in camera cuts. We are using for now just the 1 camera, and as just a preview of shot. So it's more like a placeholder and block out, because it's not textured as well, and he's naked.
Right.
But we got the facial performance here, and we got an animation from Icon here.
So there's a lot of mix. There was a lot of mixing here, and yeah, kit bashing, I would say, the animation.
Yes.
Also, so there was keyframe work mixed with mocap, and that's what we're kind of the summary is like. It's good to know both, and it's good to pull from the mocap when you need from the mocap, but understand the blending world, so you're not just stuck with mocap, but you can make your character fly, make your character do or corrective motions, or just make really nice animations that way, blending them. Thank you, Jaco. This is amazing work, by the way. I can't wait for this to be released. I know that you're working hard every day on this. and it shows. You've been
Yeah, we got already one video prepared.
Mhm.
This is the second one. I think it should take us something about maybe 2 weeks to finish it.
Mhm.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed. Exactly, exactly. This is awesome. Yes. So wrap up Q&A. I think we're over the 1 hour mark, so we can kind of chill and just sign off. I know that that some people are here very early and have been listening. So if anybody has more questions, please go ahead. This has been a very fun way to show what is possible, what is there in Unreal Engine for you to take and grab, and just essentially have fun, because the mocap world has been democratized. I truly believe that, you know, getting a suit and rigging it up and getting everything connected is as much as of a hassle as setting up 4 phones, to be honest. Although if you're working in a animation where a studio where you need a lot of animations, the phones may be not that useful, and the suit may come maybe useful for real-time performances, or for a lot of animations that, let's say you have an 8-hour shoot every day for a couple of weeks. That's where I would use a suit, right? Because it would just make life easier. But for quickies, like one episode or one video, music video, or something that doesn't have to have hours of video of mocap, markerless is the way to go. I truly believe that. But with a little bit of blend shapes and just knowing your ways around Unreal, you can have amazing results.
Yeah, yeah. If you do some tweaks and blueprints, also
Mm-hmm.
you may have the better performance of face, which we did already
Mm-hmm.
in blueprint of my character.
Mm-hmm.
So I was sitting and tweaking the stuff in blueprint
Mm-hmm.
for I think day or two, maybe,
Mm-hmm.
sitting in front of the phone and just having fun.
Right.
Mm.
Awesome. Um, are there any more feedback questions? I'll be happy to answer. This has been a very fun stream. I've been organizing it, trying to pull it off to get people join in for a while. It's not easy to coordinate. And I see that Peter is here. I think he's connecting, and Jonathan are still here. They are based from another time zone. So I'm happy that they are here to watch. This session has been recorded, so I'll be able to put it up on the group if somebody would like to re-watch it and find some value out of it. What I can say from my side of learning Unreal on the fellowships and just learning it also with Jakub, he's been an awesome student, just showing me a true way to organize projects. He's very organized in that sense, while he's learning Unreal at the same time. So complementary to our skills, I can show him like new features, and he can have a look at it and then say, oh, I'd like to use this, or I'd really not use this. And that's kind of our guidelines where we found ourselves to be going, and to the point where the first animations the first mocap animations that we had were actually really they weren't nice. They weren't the greatest animations you could find, to be honest. They were janky as hell. And now they have been, after months of research and just refining the workflow, looking at what works, what doesn't, we get to a point where where we can do this essentially in a day, or advise other creators who'd like to also jump into this and create their own stuff really quickly, right? It's because you get it all condensed, all our mangled stuff that didn't work, compiled into essence, and having all this working quickly, right? Because
Yeah.
you can get sometimes into that sense where you want to get something out of the engine, and it just takes so long to load, or the render doesn't work. So that's kind of where we're at, to throw stuff out put stuff that we like in and know that works, like retargeting from the mannequin example, or using USD to bring in complex animations from other DCC apps, as I've shown really quickly, right? So that's kind of the presentation arc, and I hope everybody enjoyed this. And yeah, we're kind of slowly signing off, and I'd like to thank everybody for finding the time to join in, listen, and maybe get some inspiration.
All right. Thank you, Bartosz. Thank you, Jakub, and thank you, everybody. It was a good experience for a non-user.
Yeah. Thanks.
I hope that you'll be able to join in and follow along. I tried to tailor this course in a way where somebody who didn't open Unreal Engine would find something interesting, and people who've been working in it for years would also find interesting. So I kind of tackled both sides here to make everybody happy. I know there's a lot of information here, and just jumping into it straight head in is not fun. But it's the most rewarding thing once you learn it. Like, I think Jakub can speak. He has days where he has been crying, but he has been days where he's been laughing out of how proud he was of how he did something. So it's it's like anything in life.
Ups and downs,
It has it ups and downs. So yeah, once you know the limitations and know where you can go and take breaks from it, don't overcharge it with stuff, don't overload it, you'll be a happy Unreal Engine user.
Yeah. At the beginning, I think we got to be humble.
Yes, humbled. Yes, that's a good
and patient.
Humble and patience. That's the two hardest thing to be, actually, I think, to be humble and patient. So yeah, if anybody can do it, I've been trying my best to be patient. Sometimes I get impatient and I struggle with that, or there's just so much things that I get overloaded with files. And don't feel that you're the only one. I have it also, even for years working with the Unreal Engine. It's still a very huge engine to grasp, and there's so many ways where you can take specifics and start working on them. And it's nice to get into those specifics, like we just discussed about keyframe versus markerless mocap. What are the pros and cons? And I hope this discussion was helpful.
It's still evolving, so it's tricky to
right. It's still
know everything.
Oh yeah, like you said, it's
End of the day.
evolving, right? The stuff that I was able to show today, 4 or 5 months, was very
Yeah.
janky. Yeah, we know, we tried, right? It didn't work. It was floaty. It didn't retarget correctly. Unreal Engine 5.0 crashed all the time when we imported
It
stuff.
was not stable.
A long animation just made it. But 5.2, many fixes.
Very cool. Very
and
cool.
and we're at a point that we're so confident that we can actually turn out a very nice animation practically every week, or even daily, if we really tried to optimize the system to do it in real time, right? Not even worry about rendering, just get 30 frames per second going and render from that.
At the beginning, we got also issues with USD.
Mhm.
You remember that? Yeah.
With the USD files, right? System
Yes,
importing.
yes.
Yes,
From Sketch happened.
it wasn't updated in 5.0. 5.1 fixed some things, and 5.2 just made it magically work. That I was able to show just, out of Blender, complex scene with physics, keyframes, goes right in. And it is not an Alembic file, which we know is a very old format that is a lifesaver, but for bringing stuff into Unreal. But
It's also tricky. Yeah, this ABC files.
it's a tricky
killing
system.
us.
Yeah, and it can really bring down even the fastest
Yes,
computer. I'd like to thank
They're pretty
Jakub
heavy.
very much. He's been an awesome technical assistant, TA on this session. Thank you very much, Jakub, for taking your time and joining, and all the rest for taking their time and to view this course. thank you very much. I'll be stopping the recording right now and submitting this to Epic as my certification for becoming an official instructor, and hopefully they'll like this session, and yeah, fingers crossed. Thank you very much. Thanks.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you very much.